They say a mother's intuition never lies. That gnawing feeling in your gut, the whispers of doubt that creep into your mind at 3 a.m., they're trying to tell you something. I had that feeling for months, watching my son change, watching our once close relationship slowly slip through my fingers like sand. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared me for the devastating truth I would uncover. I remember when Tommy was little. He would follow me around the house like a shadow, his small hand always reaching for mine, his voice eager to share every detail of his day. We had the kind of bond other mothers envied: open, honest, unbreakable, or at least, that's what I thought. Looking back now, I wonder exactly when the cracks began to form, when my sweet boy started building walls I couldn't see through. The changes were subtle at first. The locked bedroom door, the face-down phone, the hushed conversations that would stop abruptly when I entered the room. I told myself it was normal. He was an adult now, entitled to his privacy. But there was something else, something in the way he couldn't quite meet my eyes anymore, something in the tension that filled the air whenever his father and I were in the same room with him. My marriage had been struggling for years. John, my husband, had become more of a roommate than a partner. We existed in parallel lines, sharing a home but rarely connecting. Maybe that's why I clung so desperately to my relationship with Tommy. He was my anchor, my constant, the one person I thought would never drift away. The irony of that belief now feels like a knife twisting in my chest. It was a quiet Tuesday night when everything changed. The house was silent, wrapped in that peculiar stillness that only exists in the early hours of morning. I was sitting at the kitchen table, nursing a cold cup of tea, when I heard it. The buzz of Tommy's phone on the counter. One message, then another, and another. The screen lit up with a name I didn't recognize, but the words below it made my blood run cold. I can't believe we're doing this. The discovery of the wooden box under his bed came a week later. I wasn't snooping, or at least that's what I told myself. I was just tidying up, falling back into old habits of being a mother. But when I saw those letters, pages upon pages of handwritten confessions, my world began to tilt on its axis. The words jumped out at me like accusations. Every time we're together, I feel alive again. I know it's wrong, but I can't stay away. You make me feel things I haven't felt in years. The hotel parking lot felt like a stage for a tragedy I never wanted to witness. I sat in my car, hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white, watching as my son, my beautiful, complicated son, walked confidently toward the entrance. And then she appeared. Karen, my best friend of 15 years, the woman who had held me while I cried about my failing marriage, who had been my rock, my confidant, my sister in all but blood. The sight of them together, the casual intimacy, the way she touched his arm, the shared smile that spoke of secrets and stolen moments, it shattered something inside me that I'll never be able to repair. This wasn't just an affair. This was a betrayal so deep, so profound, it felt like they had reached inside my chest and ripped out my heart with their bare hands. The drive home that night exists in my memory like a blur, a nightmare I can't quite shake off. The familiar streets felt foreign. The house I'd lived in for 20 years suddenly seemed like a stranger's home. How many times had they been together while I sat oblivious in this very house? How many dinners, how many family gatherings, how many casual conversations had been tainted by their secret? Karen kept calling in the days that followed. Her name would flash on my phone screen, and each time I felt physically ill. The same woman who had listened to my fears about being a good mother, who had advised me on my marriage, who had shared countless coffee mornings and wine evenings. She had been sleeping with my son. The thought made me want to scream until my throat was raw. My husband remained clueless, buried in his newspaper and his routines, unaware that our family was balancing on a knife's edge. Sometimes I wanted to shake him, to force him to see what was happening right under his nose. But then I'd look at him, really look at him, and wonder if he'd even care. When was the last time he'd really seen any of us? The weight of this secret is crushing me. Every breath feels like I'm inhaling glass. Every moment of pretending everything is normal feels like another piece of my soul dying. I watch Tommy move through our house, acting as if he hasn't destroyed everything I thought I knew about love and trust. I see Karen's missed calls pile up, each one a reminder of her betrayal. And I ask myself the same question over and over. What do I do now? Do I confront them? Do I force this ugly truth into the light and watch as it burns our family to ashes? Do I tell my husband that while he was lost in his own world, our son was finding comfort in the arms of my best friend? Or do I carry this burden alone? Let it eat away at me until there's nothing left but a hollow shell of the woman I used to be. They say the truth sets you free, but they never tell you about the casualties it leaves in its wake. They never warn you that sometimes the people who hurt you the most are the ones you trusted with your whole heart. They never prepare you for the moment when you realize that the family you thought you had was built on quicksand, and now you're watching it all sink, powerless to stop it.